three, and hey! Life's just one mystical trail, and everybody's got a story to tell. Take a second and listen. Might just learn a thing or two. Might just relate to somebody that you never knew. Listen, listen, listen. Life's just one mystical trail. Listen, listen, listen. 'Cause everybody's got a story to tell.
Everyone has a story, and here on Storyosity, we delve into those extraordinary stories that ordinary people have to share. Today we have Lisa Funk with us. She is originally from Paraguay, immigrated to the United States, and now owns the Storm Lake Bakery here in town. Did I say Paraguay right?
If you want to really pronounce it right, you just say Paraguay, because
Paraguay.
that is like a Spanish version. Yeah,
Awesome.
Paraguay is the actual. Yeah.
Awesome. So tell me a little bit about what it was like to grow up in Paraguay.
I guess I was born and raised there, so for me it was just a natural place to be. I was raised as a Mennonite, so I was brought up as a very, very strict religion. I was not allowed to go out and explore, or would ever had the opportunity up there that I have here. So I guess my life was very limited. I had to be done by school at the age of 11. And so I only had school from the age of 6 to age 11. So I would say, yeah, it's a very, you have a very short leash, let's just say it like that way. So, yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about your family?
I'm actually, I come from a big family. I have 4 sisters and 2 brothers, but we are all like a very, I guess, I don't know how to say it, but we're very different, but very much all the same, because we all strive to work really hard, and the way we were taught is you build your own world. I mean, you build your own self. It wasn't like I could expect that inherent it would come to me and therefore I would get lucky. So I knew from a very young age on that I would have to strive really hard and work really hard to become where I am today, and that is how my family is too. Both of my brothers, they have their own business. My oldest sister has her own, they have their own business. They have a pretty large business, and I think we are all very independent, and I think it is because that's how we were brought up, is you create a path and you leave a great path, and to be honest with you, it's been tough, but I think it's also been great, because I can leave something great behind for my children.
When did you immigrate to the United States?
It was in 1992. I was brought in at the age of 17, and at that time we were in Texas. I was very unexperienced. I didn't speak any English at all. I couldn't even really understand the simplest things. Simple communication, or go in a store or something. It was a very, very hard, or very silent world to me, because I couldn't respond. And people spoke to you. There was just no understanding there. So it was really tough, because the culture is so extremely different. It was definitely, many nights I've cried myself to sleep, because I could not understand what my purpose was here, because as excited as I was to come to the United States and explore what my father's dreams were, at the same time I was also very sad, because not only had I left all the friends behind that I grew up with, and I had to completely find new friends, which none of them were speaking my language. So yeah, it was extremely tough.
You said you didn't speak English, so what's your native language?
A German.
German.
Very German. Yeah, I'm like low. I speak Low German. I do speak some High German, but I do write all High German. I read all High German. But yeah, I was completely raised German. So yeah.
Why did your father choose to bring his family to the United States?
He was first of all, he was brought to South America because of family reasons. They kind of dragged him down there, but his wish was always for us to have a better chance at life, because he knew that if he would keep us there, that we would never go anywhere. I mean, it was just, you had to live in that culture that they brought us into, and which he was never a great fan of, but he was to obey his in-laws. So therefore, but when he decided to bring us to the United States for us to learn more about what it was, a real world, and achieving our dreams, he was criticized a lot. And I don't know if you're familiar with, you probably heard it when you hear about Amish stories, that if you step out of their line, you get shot. I mean, you get kicked out. You're done. I mean, it has changed now over the years, but my dad endured a lot of criticism. I mean, he was just told really harsh, that, and I mean, but he was determined to give us a better life, and he gave up everything. I mean, he had built pretty good wealth in South America, but to bring us to the United States, he had to sell everything. And by the time he had us settled in Texas, he had nothing left. So we had to completely restart, and we helped him a lot. So we were always very, very grateful that he did that, because it's the reason who I am today. If I think back, I mean, when I lost him 4 years ago, it was really hard, because I knew it was him that gave me this life.
Well, now it's time for a short commercial break, but when we return, we will discuss Lisa's decision to become an owner of a bakery.
Once you see the world through math and science, you'll never see anything the same way again. Go to girlsgotech.org.
You'll see.
Welcome back to Storyosity. We have been learning about Lisa Funk's family life, and now we are going to learn more about her decision to own her own bakery. So, who originally got you interested in baking?
I always had an interest in it, but my grandma was the one that took time and teach me the little details. And I remember being very young, I had to stand on a little bench, and she allowed me to help her make anything. Like, everything was baked from scratch every day as a Mennonite wife. You had to bake and cook and everything. But I remember that when it came to cooking, I wasn't so interesting, but when it came to anything that was towards pastry or cakes or bread and things like that, I was always there, and she always allowed me to participate, and she taught me the secrets of how to do a really well job, that you could get great product out of it. And so I would say my grandma was the greatest influence in my life, and therefore it was always a dream. But did it look foggy at times? Yes. There was times in my life where I didn't think that would ever happen until just recently.
So what was the very first thing that you learned how to bake?
My very first thing, independently, I think it was cake cakes because it was simple, and as we were all such large families, it's a very, very common and in a Mennonite culture that there is at least 9 to a dozen in a family. So you could not go out and buy cakes because it was not even out there. It was not even available. So, but I was always passionate about that, making everyone a birthday cake. So, and no one else in the family had an interest in it. So I would bake everyone always a birthday cake, and I started at age 7, and my very first independent, completely on my own, was at age 11. And ever since then, it was every year, every sibling, every mom, grandma, dad, everybody would always get a cake. But I actually, by the time that I got my very first homemade birthday cake from my sister, it was at the age 15, and I was pretty thrilled, you know, but it was just basically, I think cakes was the first thing, and it just, you know, it just kind of combines with everything else. I love doing everything, but it's cakes, I would say.
So did you attend any type of culinary school?
I did not. I've learned everything hands-on. I was really lucky that I got to work for a baker. He was very experienced. He had been in it for years too. The family had it since 1963. And so I was very, very lucky because he would step by step, detail, teach me how to do all that. And so, and not to mention, we would make like over 100 different items daily, or at least on a weekly basis. So yeah, that's a lot to learn because we make everything from scratch. So you had to learn to weigh everything out, because you don't just use scoops and just dump everything together. So he taught me the detail of it. I did have a basic course of cake decorating class from the Waltons because I wanted to learn how to make the roses. And the only way was for me to do that, I had to just take a basic step. And it was only like 3 evenings. So, yeah, it's my only education.
When did you begin Paige's Bakery?
I worked at, started working there in 2002. I did, basically I started as a customer service because I knew to get in, it wasn't just that he would, let me just start. So I started in 2002 and I just progressed, and next thing I knew I was on a bench doing all this stuff.
If someone would like to purchase some of your tasty treats, where can they find you at? Actually,
I'm in a very popular spot right on Main Street. It's been there since 1916. So yeah, it's in right where all the shopping goes on in downtown. That's where I'm at. And I have a great website to check out. It's stormlakebakery.com, and there is my address, all the information that you need, or a phone number that they can contact me at. So
thank you so much for joining us today, Lisa.
Well, thank you.
And for those of you watching, always remember to stop and listen to those around you. You might just find that the ordinary people you come in contact with every day are extraordinarily interesting.